You get all excited for a new week where you're gonna accomplish so much, but then you wake up and you just don't have it in you to do anything. You're unmotivated, you're exhausted, so what do you do? If that sounds like you, you're not alone. Trust me, at the time of filming this video, this was me literally 2 days ago, and it's what inspired this entire video. Trust me when I say that this happens to me pretty frequently now. I don't know if it's seasonal depression, hormonal issues, but this never was an issue for me up until the last year, and now it's like happening more and more often. And yeah, it's kind of frustrating. It's hard as a small business owner where everything relies on you to not get mad at yourself in those moments and to just let yourself rest. Like, it's really difficult. And I just honestly, I start to feel like a failure and I get mad at myself, and I know I shouldn't be getting mad at myself, and it's just this cycle of like, I want to get stuff done but I can't get stuff done, and then I get mad, and then I'm mad that I'm mad, and it's like just never ending until I feel better. And thankfully it only lasted 3 days this week. If you are going through this at all, then I just want to say you're not alone, and do not be so mad at yourself. One thing I'm learning to do, and I'm not good at it yet, but I am learning to just let myself rest. If my body's telling me you need to stop, then I'm trying to actually listen to it and actually rest and not beat myself up for needing rest. You don't get a gold trophy if you work 50 hours a week. You just get tired and exhausted and burnt out quicker. So I'm trying to just tell myself it is okay. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to take a day off, and you don't have to earn it. Like, that is my biggest thing, is I feel like, okay, once I do this, then I can rest. And it's this never-ending cycle of always needing to do more and more and more and more and more, because as a business owner, like, there's 5,000 things to always be doing. Now, this is for the girlies. If you didn't know, we have phases in our cycle, and there are phases that you just have low energy. Just know that there's nothing wrong with you. This is just biologically normal. And once I realized that it was something I couldn't control, I started being a little bit nicer to myself and not trying to force my way through it. Just realizing that, oh, okay, this is normal. I mean, talk to a doctor if you feel like anything's off, obviously. If you're in the same boat as me, I don't want you to feel like you're failing or that you're not doing it as good as someone else, because we all have these battles that we're fighting and dealing with, and a lot of times we just don't talk about it. And if I'm being completely honest, like, women's hormonal health just is never something that's talked about. I remember seeing a TikTok like 2 years ago of someone saying they work around their cycle, and in those weeks where they're lower energy, they don't schedule a lot of meetings, or I forget all the things, but it was the first time I actually heard of someone doing this, and I'm like almost 30. Like, that should be more of a normal thing that we talk about. It's just something good to look into and to know about, and to know that this could be part of what is happening. But obviously, talk to your doctor. I'm not an expert. I'm just learning about all this stuff myself. But today I want to share some tips or ideas with you on what you can do when you just don't feel like doing anything. So if you truly do want to work, I would recommend doing some low energy tasks or admin tasks, something that doesn't require you to think a ton and you can still make progress. So this is going to be different for everyone, because we all have different comfort levels and things that we find easier or harder. For me, I can do emails pretty easily now. This probably comes from doing over a year in customer service. Prior to that experience, I found emails to be really annoying and daunting, but now I actually have a better handle on them. If you have emails, go through them, delete them. Even if you're just going through like your email that you use for all the promotions, delete them all. Just go through and delete them, because you'll feel a little bit better knowing that you don't have 1,000 unread emails. And maybe while you're at it, unsubscribe to the email list you don't want. I also like scripting YouTube videos. Sometimes this is too much thinking, other times it's not. It truly depends on the week and what else I'm going through. Sometimes even that is just too much thinking, but other times, once I get into it, I can actually start making progress, and for whatever reason, that doesn't exhaust me too much. When I had inventory, I was doing things like prepping stickers, putting them like on their backers, or folding and scoring cards. Those are great low energy tasks because they're repetitive. You can kind of zone out a little bit. You don't really need to think too much about what you're doing. You just keep going through the motions. You can turn on a show while you're doing it. So if you have inventory, those are like prime, here's what you can do if you want to work but you don't have energy. So kind of going along with working but not quite is drawing or coloring. I like to draw doodles or lettering quotes for Instagram. And the reason I like doing it for Instagram is because when I'm designing for that, I'm not necessarily thinking about how perfect it needs to look or with an end product in mind. So I'm just kind of, here's the quote that's on my mind, let me draw it and make something. And sometimes these don't work out. Sometimes these are things I end up deleting and they're not great, or I come back and finish it later. But sometimes just getting yourself doing something creative can make you feel a little bit better. Sometimes I edit SVGs that I've already had made. The designing part takes a little bit more thinking, but the actual like making the SVG and cleaning up the nodes part is a lot easier for me to do when I am tired or not feeling it, because you don't have to think as much. So that step is something you could do too. Now we're gonna get to the part where we're not talking about work anymore. You are allowed to have some fun, to do something relaxing, to do something completely not related to work, even if it is a work day. You're allowed to take a break. You're allowed to have a day off. I know it sounds ridiculous and I know it sounds crazy and it might be hard to accept, but it is okay. So this week I spent 3 days playing Sims, and yeah, at the end of the day, I kind of felt like, man, I wish I did more, but I'm also not mad about it because I used to force myself to keep working and pushing through, and what would end up happening is I just wouldn't get anything done, or the work I was getting done wasn't that great, or it was taking me 10 times longer to get a task done than it should have. So now I just play Sims. It's fine. The world will go on, things will keep moving. Nothing's truly gonna fall apart if I play Sims for 3 days straight. So find what is interesting to you and do that, whether that's reading, gardening, playing Sims, or another video game, going outside, going on a walk. Do something and don't get mad at yourself while you're doing it. I usually don't get tired like this in the summer, and I truly do wonder if I have a vitamin D deficiency right now, because in the summer months I just feel a little bit more alive. And right now it's you can't see it, but it's currently snowing and it's almost April, so that is not fun. That is one of the parts I hate about Michigan, is you get so excited for winter and Christmas in end of November, December, and then it seems like each year like winter's going back and like getting delayed. So now we're having winter in March. Well, I know technically it's still winter in March, but like we're having snow in March when really I wanted this snow in December when it would have made me happy. I think part of that is probably my issue. But I am feeling a little bit hopeful that the warm weather and the sunshine will start to improve my mood and creativity, and hopefully things will get better when that happens. But I guess we'll find out. Now this next one might just be a me thing. I don't actually like cleaning, but I love having a clean house. So last weekend, my husband and I like power cleaned for an hour, and it made me feel so much better. It made me feel like I could get more things done. Now this could be an ADHD thing or it's an everyone thing, I'm not sure. But I truly feel like when my house is cluttered, my mind is cluttered, and I just need that clean house. And it makes me feel so much better. As my office is a mess, I'm still saying that. And what I did earlier this week, I just felt like, okay, I need to do something. So for 30 minutes, I did the dishes. And at the end of the day, if I didn't get any work done, I now have a clean house. So I guess it's a win still at the end of the day. And last, probably the most important thing, is to just cut yourself some slack. We are not robots. We're not meant to work 24/7, and we shouldn't be putting so much pressure on ourselves to be working 24/7. And I know it's really hard as a small business owner to separate work from home, especially if you work from home. Like, especially if you have an office in your house, it is hard to turn it off. I feel like if you have an outside space, you can mentally shut things off a little bit easier than when it's here 24/7. I will say that having an actual dedicated space with a door that I can close at the end of the day is super helpful, because then I don't see any of this mess all day. I know that it's super hard to put limits on things, but I personally am trying to, okay, after 5 p.m. we are not working. On the weekends we're not working. I will sometimes break this rule because my husband has night classes, so usually what ends up happening is we go take a walk during the day, or I'm just hanging out with him or talking to him more during the day, not really getting anything done. And then once he leaves, I get a little burst of energy and inspiration. And so I will allow myself to work sometimes, but I'm also trying to be really conscious of not falling into the trap of just always working but not really getting anything done. But I feel like I'm working, so I'm never really resting because I'm always still thinking about work. To say, we need to be easier on ourselves as business owners because it is so hard. There's just always so much to think about. So find the things that let you turn off your brain a little bit and escape this world, whether that's reading, gardening, playing a game, going outside, leaving the house, hanging out with friends, going to movies, watching movies, whatever it is that can make you like just fully stop thinking about work, start doing that a little bit more. And if you are feeling really down about yourself, remember that this is all temporary. You're not going to feel this way forever, and at some point things will get better. And personally, what I've found is that when I actually let myself have true breaks, I end up coming back more creative. It's almost like it lets yourself breathe and think and come up with ideas. And then when I come back, I just get so eager to do new things. I truly do think it's important, not just for your physical health, but your mental health and also like your business in general. I hope you enjoyed this video. What tip is your favorite, or is there something you would add to this list? I would love to hear about it in the comments. Have a great day. Bye.